let's talk about this subject, man. And he's always game, And so we're just here, and we got brother Louis. He's doing a mural for the kids here. It's looking pretty nice.
Yeah.
The women are wrapping some gifts for the church kids, and I'm like, yeah, let's chop it up a little bit. So how you doing, Tomas?
I'm good, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, blessed.
amen, amen. So I'm just gonna dive right into the subject.
Yeah.
Earlier earlier we were here, and Eli was here, and well, Eli's never been in prison, but um, we were all just kind of talking and sharing, and I thought of this subject, and I don't. Maybe other people have done this subject. I don't know, but why is it that those that have been locked up, we always talk about being locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been for me, I got out 2010, 12 years. When's the last time you were locked up?
I paroled in 2008, and I think I only did like after that I went back for a DUI in 2009 for like 24 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Not even time.
no, it wasn't even.
Not even time to buzz a spread. So I got to thinking, because a lot of times, when we, and here's the thing though, I notice a difference though, right? Because the reason I say that is because sometimes when people start talking about prison that are not in Christ now,
Yeah.
it gets old to me. I get bored.
Yeah.
I really do get bored, and so I do notice though, like, why do we talk about it? And I'm like, I don't even know the answers, but I just figured we'll just have this conversation and see what comes out of it.
I think a good part of it, like right here, right now, why we were talking about it,
Yeah.
is the Cadillac.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, but no, I think, and I feel the same way too. When I'm speaking to a non-believer and they start bringing up the old battle stories and they start bringing up this and that and whatever, it kind of just I just put that thing that shield
Yeah,
off,
me
or I
too.
kind of
My
just
walls
shut them
go
out.
up.
Yeah, and I just want to shut them out. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to hear about it. Where I think when me and you talk about it, or even with Eli, like we make it a joke. We're like not so much a joke,
Yeah.
but it's like at the time it was serious, but now we can sit back and laugh about it and just kind of like, man, like. But I think a lot of it is we know God's mercy and grace.
Yeah.
We understand that God really pulled us out of that, and He didn't have to.
Yeah.
You
For me, I've thought about this a lot, man, because like I did notice that. See, like I served God in prison. I don't think you did, huh?
know? No.
Yeah, you didn't serve God in prison. So for me, my experience is a little different than yours. Um, for me, the closest brothers I had were the ones that I was locked up with, because we would bust spreads together. We would
Mhm.
study our words together, pray together. When things would happen with our families, we would cry together, man. These
Yeah.
are my brothers. These are people that I was, and I'm still close to.
Yeah.
To this day, we're all out now. I'm still close to them, and you just create this brotherhood, bro. And I know you didn't know what it's like to serve God in prison, but I think you understand this regardless. Is that
Yeah.
you create a bond
Yeah.
with people, because when you get out, nobody understands.
Yeah.
Nobody really understands.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. You think you hit the nail on the head there, because like even now, I've been out, like I said, since like 2008. And the thing about it is that like there was like you kind of got a sense of feeling, bro, for
Hmm.
those that were gonna be sincere about not coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And you had your, you know, you just had that like discernment, somewhat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And what it boiled down to is like even the ones that like honestly, I got a couple boys that are doing really good for themselves.
Hmm.
And in that time we got to either we were celled up together, or we worked in the kitchen, or we lived in the same block. We went out there and worked out together, and so we built a bond. We built,
Yeah.
and with that bond, I mean, I know it was different from what yours was, but I remember I could have a bad day, bro, and they could read it on me and be like, hey, bro, let's eat real quick. Come to my cell, let's grub.
Yeah.
And you sit down and you eat, and like, hey, and we could read each other because we've been around each other so much that we're like, hey, bro, you look kind of down. What's up? You good? You get a good bad phone call. You get a bad
Yeah.
letter, something. And we learned how to read each other because we were just brothers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We grew that bond that you're talking about, and we grew that concern for one another.
Um. So I've only been in prison once, but it was for 6 years.
Hmm.
Did you go multiple times or a couple times? Or,
A couple times,
yeah.
and each time was different. I think the last time was really what kind of broke the needle on the camel's back, I guess you
Hmm.
should say, because when you got an 18-year-old cellie that got 2 life sentences,
Oh yeah.
no way out, and I'm just in reception with them, and here I am stressed on my violation. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and don't get me wrong, I fought a third strike case. That's what ended up just turning into a violation by the grace of God. Um, my last court date, I went to court and they dismissed all charges, bro.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to take 21 years.
Here in Modesto,
Yeah,
Stanislaus County.
Stanislaus County, and ready to take 21 years. Didn't talk to him. I'd seen my lawyer a couple of times because we're down in what they call the dungeon. He keeps walking by. What's up, man? Talk to me. I want to talk to him. Tell him I'm going to take 21 years to get this everything dismissed off my brother and them. And it was crazy because finally, at the end of the day, they came did a head count for dinner.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I walk up there and I see him and I say, "Hey, what's up, man? I want to take those 21 years, get everything dismissed off my brother." And my lawyer just kind of looked at me and said, "Shut up! They dropped charges." You know what I'm saying? That I was just blown away. I didn't have nothing more to say. But
Wow.
you know, that was the last time. And like I said, what did it to me, and I think that was God just opening my eyes. I didn't live right, even though I got out,
Yeah.
but my intentions were really pure. Like I really wanted to stay out of trouble this time.
Yeah.
Like because I was just like I said, what broke my back was being in a cell with an 18-year-old that didn't have an out date.
Um. That reminds me of there was this man. He was a millionaire, man. The thing about the feds is a different kind of criminal there.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a lot of there was a lot of lawyers, a couple judges,
Wow.
bankers, people in embezzlement, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And I was talking to this guy. I don't really know what he was locked up for.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was something financial,
Yeah.
and I was complaining because I think I still had 2007, so I still had 3 more years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe three and some change out of my 6 year, because I had an 8 year sentence, but in the feds you do 85%.
Yeah.
And I did this program called RDAP, and it knocks a year off. But anyways, I was sitting there complaining in the library one time, and he got upset, you know. And he goes, David, he goes, I need to talk to you, man. I was like, what's up? He goes, because he didn't know how much time I had left, because I was
Yeah.
just complaining about my time, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I got out in 2010. And he goes, he goes, they gave me 30 years. He goes, I'm
Yeah.
70.
Man.
He goes, I would give you everything I own for your sentence. He goes, I got a jet, I got businesses, houses, real estate. He goes, you are far more richer than I am. He goes, because you have what money can't buy. He goes, you're going to have your freedom. He goes, and just remember that you're going to be out there, you're going to live your life, you're going to raise your kids, and I'm still going to be here. He goes, no matter how much money I got in the bank. And that's like, that was, he checked me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can only
You know?
imagine.
He checked me, and I apologized to him.
Yeah.
I did. I said, you know what? I sincerely apologize. I
Yeah.
said, I'm not going to complain anymore, because you're right. That is a disrespect to people that are doing life,
Yeah.
you know, life. And I guarantee that his white collar crime was nothing compared to the stuff I did,
Yeah.
you know. And but it's just real, man. It's real talk, and it's stuff like that. I had another guy tell me the same thing. not because of me, but somebody else is complaining. I was in Sac County, still fighting my sentence, and this dude, they hit him with 32. He was 18 years old. They got him for a murder, and he not only murdered somebody, he shot him, got in his car, and ran him over.
Oh, so like, that's kind of like aggravated mayhem or something
I
like
don't know.
that.
It was crazy, but they hit him with 32, and he was upset with somebody that was because it's in county jail, so
Yeah,
there's people going in for DUI. They're crying on the phone,
yeah,
and they're crying because they
county
don't go
time.
to they got to stay in jail till court Monday.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, it's the reality that hits you that there's people in the yard that are never
never
gonna go
coming home.
home, never.
And you know what's crazy about that is half of them people that are never coming home.
Yeah,
Um, from my experience, they're the most humblest people I know, bro.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I think their biggest prayer is give me one more chance, and
yeah,
I will
yeah,
definitely change my
yeah.
life.
And so, for me, it is a lot of life lessons in there. Um, I think the people that learn those lessons are mostly the ones that aren't coming home.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't learn the lessons and they just keep coming back,
it's
keep
that
coming
vicious
back.
cycle, bro.
Yeah. But like for me, going back to the subject, man, I think there's a few reasons why I talk about it a lot, probably. First of all, I talk about it a lot to people that I know been locked up. Because even though I didn't do time with you, I didn't do time with some other brothers, I find a comfort there because I feel like sometimes nobody understands what we went through.
Yeah,
And I relate it to, let's say, Brother Dale, and I mean he was in the service, he was in Vietnam, he was in the Navy. And obviously, I'm not comparing that to a criminal
yeah,
because what he did was honorable.
yeah.
There's no honor in prison,
No,
But as far as the bond, he says that when he came back, he couldn't relate,
yeah,
and because you did two stretches and not really long, right?
yeah.
How long were
Uh, just violation, and then 4 years and a few months.
4 years straight? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
four
a
years
good
and a straight.
stretch.
Yeah,
Because they say that if you do anybody that does five or more, psychologically it changes something in you.
yeah,
Some people call it institutionalized, whatever you want to call it, but nevertheless, like, for me, there was I felt weird when I got out.
yeah.
Did you feel weird?
I felt very weird, especially when I came back to Modesto and everything looked different, bro. Like,
Right? Everything
yeah,
looked different.
yeah,
Yeah, me
like,
too.
and it wasn't it, like a lot of this, like downtown, they updated since from
Oh
when I
yeah.
went to,
Mhm.
and I was just like, well, when they do that, when they do that, and
Yeah, right.
yeah, and I remember that because when I turned myself in, um, we had to park somewhere over here on J Street, and my brother and them walked with me to the courthouse to turn myself in.
Oh, the one right here.
Yeah, and it was, and then to get out and everything just looks different from when
Mhm.
I remember that walk. I'm just like, whoa, when they do that, like it was just everything just felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like even people, you know what I'm saying? Like you just you and like I said, the last time I got out and um I don't know. I think it was just God starting to work in my life
Yeah.
because I was just discerning people. Like I don't want to be around this person, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be around this
Yeah.
person, and for me to talk about it, I think it's because a lot of people don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's some things where you say and I can relate to,
Yeah.
and it's like I posted the other day. I wouldn't. Um, there's some things that I wouldn't change,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't, and incarceration is one of them because I learned morals. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
how to conduct myself, how to clean up after myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like your mom's not in there; she's not gonna pick
Yeah.
up after you. And these are things that I see you do even in your own home. When I go over there, I see you just start picking up. You guys clean up. You guys,
Yeah.
and that's you guys been to my house. That's kind of how I live too. I just was like,
Yeah.
I kept my house clean. But I think for the most part, that's why we click it. So we just
Yeah.
we familiarize with one another.
Yeah. Like, and so for me, like, I when I got out, I felt very awkward. I didn't feel awkward with my family. I think I'm talking about my parents,
Hmm.
especially, and my brothers either, because they visited me the whole
Yeah.
time. So there was no awkwardness. My kids either, they would see me. My family would always bring my kids to come see me, and but other people or strangers or at a store, if somebody's standing too close to me
Oh
in
yeah.
line, stuff like that. To this day, I can't sit at a restaurant with my back to the
To the
door.
door. Yep.
My back's to the door right now, but I can see it on the
Yeah.
camera,
Yeah.
for reals, or else I wouldn't be comfortable, you know. But like that whole thing of not feeling comfortable, I felt odd, and the moment I would meet somebody that was locked up,
Hmm.
like I felt like, oh, somebody has been in the war with me,
Yeah.
like it was weird, like I compare it because like Dale, being
Yeah.
a veteran. And I don't know, man. It's just a trip. And there's some things like some people have said, like once in a while, joke around or on Facebook, be like, "Oh, I'm making a Cadillac or I'm making a spread." And there's people that are like, "Man, just leave it alone. You ain't in prison no more."
Yeah.
And I don't see that as negative, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't see that as negative because, yeah, time was not. I'm gonna be honest. Time wasn't hard.
No.
What was hard is being away from the ones you love,
Yeah. Yep.
especially your kids. That is what's hard. You could have put me on the island of Hawaii with no gates and or fences or nothing, but
Hmm.
it would have still been hard being away from my family.
Yeah.
So to me, prison, living in a cell, like now solitary, that's a different story. But even then, you get used to it.
Yeah. And a lot of people fail to realize that, you know, especially when you spread. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
for us, it was, like Cinco de Mayo, somebody's birthday or something. We would come together and
hmm,
break bread.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And over breaking bread, we would get that little peace of mind to just escape
yeah.
and just hang out and just feel normal again.
Because everybody would be there
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody would be together. Everybody's just laughing and joking and so on and so
man.
forth. Just reminiscing on good times about
Yeah,
being out with their family. And it's the same thing, in our walk now. What do we do after Sunday, bro? We break bread, we eat
hmm,
grub,
yeah,
and we share the same, memories or make new ones, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
And that's why when a lot of people say same thing, get over that already. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't understand the bonds that were built over that spread.
yeah. Well, I do want to throw. I've looked up the scripture real quick,
Uh,
and I wanted to read it because it explains it well to me. I mean, maybe because it just does, but in Romans 5:3-5, it says, "Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us." And the reason I say that is because he says that we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. It builds your character.
it does.
You know, was it hard at times? Yeah, but you want to build your body in the gym, it's going to be hard sometimes. You
Yeah,
want to build your endurance if you're a jogger, it's going to hurt your legs sometimes. It's the things that are hard in this world and the things you suffer through are actually the things that build who you are.
yeah,
I'm glad, I'm glad in a sense. First of all, I'm glad because I'd probably be dead,
yeah,
so I think prison saved me. But second, I think I had to become a man in there.
yeah.
And I was a man before. I was a father before. I already had my kids, and I think I conducted myself in a way as a man before prison. But there was something about just being ripped away from everything, that builds your character, builds who you are, and I think that has built who I am today as a Christian, as a pastor.
Yeah.
By the things that I went through in prison.
Yeah, and honestly, how would I say it? God used everything that the enemy was using for bad in your life, and He turned it for good.
Yeah,
Because, bro, you carry a lot of leadership skill, but not only that, but now you're teaching that,
yeah,
and you're pouring into others for it. You know what I'm saying? And you continue to do that. You're showing people who their true identity is.
yeah,
and that's just something that God's put in your heart,
Yeah,
and I believe that God's going to continue to use because, brother, you continue to pour that into people,
yeah. But even like I remember, like say, okay, Lake Tahoe.
bro.
I mean, first of all, Alex is easy to get along with.
Yeah,
Great guy. You know, I love his character, his personality. But even that camaraderie that he's been locked up,
yeah,
even though he was a Southsider,
yeah,
but I still relate to him. You know what I mean? And I quickly gravitated toward him, and I believe him toward us
yeah,
because of that bond. Because he always felt, I think, from just a few talks, that people in Tahoe don't get him.
yeah.
You know, and then he jokes with us. Like now, he opens up more. At first, he was kind of
Yes, all
like,
serious and
yeah,
quiet,
all serious,
sheltered.
super serio.
Yeah,
You know, but I think he finds comfort in that, and that's my second point, is for me to be able to talk about prison and joke about it. I think it's healing.
yeah. No, and I believe that because the short time that I was there with them, like I would spread
Yeah,
and um I'd ask Veronica, you think Alex gonna want some? She'd be like, oh, he don't eat that. And then we'd have some left over, and he'd come back. Oh, you guys spread it without me, and he'll start eating some. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah,
no, it's because I understand him, and you know what I'm saying. And I think that's, man. And I love Alex, bro.
yeah,
Alex is, and that's one thing that we sit there and laugh about. And I would just make fun of him. I'd be like,
yeah,
how do you feel having a northerner in your house, bro? And he'd just sit there and laugh and just be like, how do you feel like laying up in a southerner's house?
yeah.
And I started laughing, bro. And like we would just joke around with it, bro, because like I said, Alex is real. He's
Because that's all left behind, guys.
yeah, it is all left behind. We
But
can
we
sit
joke
there and
about
joke
it.
about it. And but it's Alex is real. He's not sheltered. He just sits back and he feels you out
Yeah,
before he even wants to open any doors with you. Real observant, sharp, and Alex is a really good dude. Once
yeah,
once you break bread and you get him to open up, oh, it's just endless jokes. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think it is healing, and who was I talking to recently? Because I'm always, because where I did solitary time was in Santa Rita, and I met so many people that have been in federal prison, state prison. I met many people that have been in solitary in different prisons. And who did I just talk to that said, "Man, I know exactly. I was in the hole too in Santa Rita," and instantly, that's the first time I met somebody that knew what that was like. You know what I mean? And God, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was just recently. I don't know. Maybe the name will pop in my head, but just so recently, and instantly, I'm just like, man, you were there. So,
yeah,
oh, you remember this? You remember that? You know what I mean? And it was just like, guys. So, I think, okay, for those that never been locked up, and you're like, man, why are these inmates always talking? Ex-cons always talking about it. Think about it. Okay, let's say you went to university,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you meet somebody at the gym, you meet somebody, and they went to the same university you went to.
yeah,
Boom, there's a bond. No, man, remember those things? Remember this teacher? Remember that? It's the same thing.
yeah,
It's the same feeling. There's a camaraderie. There's a brotherhood or sisterhood if you're a sister, a woman. You know what I mean? Same exact thing, man. That same, same thing when people go to war, people are in service. I'm sure police officers, when they meet another police, or they probably feel the same way. You know, I think that's just humans, the stuff we go through. Um, I don't think nothing's wrong with it. Now, we did say in the very beginning, like I really don't like to talk about that with non-believers
yeah.
too much.
No,
I will as an introduction to Christ,
yeah,
but it's a different talk. It's more bragging, war stories.
yeah,
Man, I beat this guy up, stabbed this guy, did this, did that.
yeah,
It's different. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's different. Um, but I think that I think we do that now, not because we're stuck there. I don't consider me stuck, but I'm free. I love my freedom.
no, yeah,
Matter of fact, I probably love my freedom more than people that haven't been locked up,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I know what it's like to get it ripped from you. You know, I love freedom and all that, but at the same time, prison humbled me, man. It humbled me because I thought I was above the law.
Yeah,
I thought I could do anything. You know, I was in the rap industry, so I had money. I had a criminal lawyer. Our crew had its own criminal lawyer,
yeah,
and he was constantly. He got me out of two cases that I probably would have done prison time. My friend, he they found a couple guns. They found a triple beam. They found like residue and stuff. But the fact is that the lawyer got him off. You know why? Just real quick, because he was on probation,
hmm
and they came to do a random search on his house. Here's the problem: that was not his address anymore.
Oh, so they hit.
That was his dad's house,
Yeah,
but he got his own apartment, his own thing 2 months before, reported it. So they had no right
she hit that
to
house.
hit his dad's house because he had did a change of address.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe this lawyer, man, used that, and they had to throw it out.
Wow. So
This
see,
this lawyer wasn't playing, man.
that's like my old lawyer. May he
Yeah,
rest in peace, Frank Carson, bro.
yeah,
Um, he would pull you to the side, bro. Especially if you were incarcerated, and he'd have you in the what's called, and he'd be like, "Nothing's being recorded. It can't be recorded because it's against the law to record mine and your
yeah,
conversation."
yeah,
He goes, "So what I want, and what I expect of you," he goes, "is the truth." You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, "Okay," and he'd tell me, "Did you do it?"
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'd have to be upfront with them.
Because
And
that way he knows how to
yeah,
fight this.
yeah, so he knows how to fight the case.
Yeah.
And that was the thing about him, bro, is he says, if you lie to me, he goes, you're only messing yourself up.
Wow.
He goes, because I don't know how to fight this case when the truth comes out. He goes, so I need to know the truth. I need to know this. I need to know that, and it's one of them things where it's that person is the person you have to be truthful to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More than before,
Mhm.
anything. I mean, God before, but you have to be truthful to this individual because, bro, and I'm telling you, bro, there was things that I told him that I was guilty of,
Yeah.
and that I was, and he beat my case, bro. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And what it is there was, same thing. There was little stuff that wasn't done in the process of arresting me, and so on and so forth, and little things like that. They go against your rights, so
Yeah.
it can get tossed out.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, God's grace most of all, but yeah, it's crazy.
But that's a whole other conversation about lawyers, you
Yeah,
know. But my whole thing is, it's just for me, man. I'm grateful because it kept me alive. I believe grateful because I wouldn't have come to Christ. I was that stubborn that I think the Lord had to put me in a place where I hit rock bottom, where there was nowhere to
yeah,
go but to look up to Him, and just the character has caused me the the losing freedom makes you appreciate freedom,
yeah,
and all that stuff. And like I said, I don't think I'm stuck in it. I just learn from it, and I do feel bonding when I meet somebody, and I do feel a healing, man, because prison itself. Some guys
over
on a
here. Oh,
bike. Yeah. So, anyways, because prison itself is just there's just something that like I said, man, I'm repeating myself, but I don't feel I'm stuck there. I just think it's healing, and I think there's nothing wrong with talking about it. It depends how you talk about it, though. That's my issue for me. Is that not to use it to glorify yourself, war stories, nothing like that. Um, but to truly say, you know what, I this helped me build who I am, and just go from there.
and you're right, bro. I think that is healing, especially when, um, you could get rival gang members that now serve God, and now you guys can see each other, embrace each other, and you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Laugh about stuff, and I got a couple of those, moments where, I see them serving God now, and
yeah,
we went from shooting at each other and trying to kill each other to
yeah,
we're now embracing each other, telling God bless you, and
yeah,
wishing the best for each other,
yeah.
and it's just crazy because I think that's the biggest healing of it all is putting everything, man. Because could you imagine how many times, like, bro, the devil would have won if one of us would have died.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
saying? And now God gets the glory because He caused all this peace, and you know what I'm saying. Instead of division, He's adding unity, and
Hmm.
He's able to use our testimony,
Yeah.
to use one another, especially one another when it comes to like youth or something, man, to
Yeah.
be able to tell them, look, the route you're going is wrong, man. We
Yeah.
used to be rival gang members, but now look at us.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're able to stand together, hug each other, go and break bread, and and so I think a lot of it is healing. A lot of us
Yeah.
can sit there and relate to one another.
Yeah. You know, um, solitary. Like out of the 6 years, I did a year in solitary, and a lot of times when people say, "Oh, I did solitary time," they did. It was solitary, considered solitary in that facility, but they had a cellie,
Yeah,
and they got it to shower every day. With the real shower. They call it 23 and 1,
yeah.
23
Hours
hours
down.
lockdown one. And I did a year by myself, and I would get out of myself for 1 hour every 3 days. So every 72 hours. So it was more like 71 hours locked down and 1 hour
1 hour
out,
out.
And there was no barbers, there was no nothing. Believe it or not, I know I'm bald. My hair um, reached my nose.
No way.
Yeah, because there was nobody to cut my hair. There was
Man.
nothing, and my hair was like, if I combed it front, it went to my nose, but I was combing it back, but it starts getting long, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I remember, I think they sold gel. I think they do on
yeah.
commissary.
Commissary.
Yeah, and I'll just put gel and just slick my hair back, and I didn't want it like that, man. But there was no choice, I was just by myself, and that time in solitary to me is probably what affected me the most negatively. They did a study, man, like the United Nations.
Hmm.
They said that they consider it torture
Yeah, because
for. Let me
well,
see.
well, isn't that why they released a lot of people out of the shoe program, the indeterminate shoes, because
Yeah,
they were considering it inhumane, right?
yeah. Solitary. Here it is. Let's see. Solitary confinement. Found. Oh, let's see what it says here.
And it's kind of funny that you brought that up because I got an old coworker that his brother did a good chunk of his term in out there in Pelican Bay in the shoe, bro.
Yeah,
And when they released him out to a yard, he didn't know how to act.
yeah, yeah, for real. Um, Mentally ill inmate under solitary confinement. Okay, let's see. When correction officials talk about solitary confinement, they describe it as the prison within the prison. You know what I mean? But that wasn't what I was looking for. Oh yeah, cruel and unusual punishment. But I'm trying to find how. There's a thing where it says United. Okay, I know what it is. United Nations solitary confinement. Here it is. Prolonged solitary confinement amounts to psychological torture. Says United Nations experts in the Geneva Convention thing, whatever, um, has voiced alarm at the excessive use of solitary confinement by correctional facilities. What is that? I don't want to read the whole thing, but I'm trying to. There's a part where it says it was like after 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
it psychologically affects you. After 90 days of complete solitary confinement, and let's see, the Mandela Rules, updated 2015, uh, defines solitary confinement as the confinement of prisoners for 22 hours or more a day without meaningful human contact. Solitary confinement may only be imposed in exceptional circumstances. Prolonged solitary confinement of more than 15 days is regarded as a form of torture. 15 days. I did 365. And there's people that did years. I think Sharon's brother did 4 years in solitary. You know, and the thing is that I had to admit to myself is that it did affect me, man. Like even as a pastor, even whatever as who I am today, it still affects who, like I guess how I react to stuff. You know?
Yeah, and sometimes, bro, I think that's a lot of it too, bro. That's like, and man, I'm working on it. But sometimes I guess I get expect everybody to have the same mentality that I have,
Yeah,
from being incarcerated,
yeah,
and it's a big respect thing, I guess, or something like
yeah,
that. And I have to realize that not everybody's
yeah.
been to where I'm
The
at.
part in American Me, remember where he goes, I mean, how much are these boots?
Oh yeah, look at me
Like,
when you talk to me. Yeah.
yeah, hey, look at me when he's it's funny. I laughed because I saw that movie before I went to prison,
Hmm.
and I laughed at that part. And then when I got out, I said, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Because people out here in civil, and civilians,
Yeah.
um, they disrespect each other and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
They're,
Like it's just like
they're,
comes
they're
naturally.
disrespectful and they don't even realize they're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
And when you brought up the whole solitary confinement and
Yeah,
stuff, it reminded me of that movie Murder in the First with Kevin Bacon. Have
yeah.
you ever watched that one? Where he
Not
so
sure.
he gets locked up at a young age, bro, and then
Okay, I haven't seen that.
no, so it's a really good movie. You got to watch
Yeah.
it, bro. He spends a lot of his time in solitary confinement,
Oh
bro,
wow.
and he ends up losing his mind, kind of. He ends up even walking funny because back in the day, I want to say he was in Alcatraz, bro. So
Wow.
he was in the whole hole where he was crimped up
And it
like
was
this.
just dark.
Yeah, and it was just dark, bro.
Yeah.
And like in the movie, it kind of just shows more and more of it. And he even like I said, when they let him out of solitary, and they actually released him to general pop, there was this one guy who told on him, and then he starts hearing voices. He told on you. He told on you. He told on
Wow.
you. So he ends up losing it, bro. At the chow hall, ends up stabbing this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kills him. So that's where it becomes murder in the first.
Wow.
And he, but from all that solitary confinement, bro, he lost his mind. That was one. Like as you get to watch the movie, bro, like he gets locked up at a really young age, bro.
Yeah.
Where like I think he was like 12 or 13,
Oh
and
wow.
now he's a grown adult, bro, and he's walking over hunchback because the hole that they had him in,
Yeah.
he was just curled up and it's crazy. But I know that at some point or time, like I mean, because I've met people that done time in the hole, bro, and they're a little off, bro. Because, like their conversation would be like, and you're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. You
and,
you it'll mess you up if you don't program.
yeah,
And I believe that I didn't end up being a J cat, man, because I had the Lord.
yeah,
If it wasn't for the Lord and His Word and prayer and my family, I saw a lot of guys lose it.
yeah,
I saw an 18-year-old. I specifically remember this 18-year-old from Oakland. They came in with an attitude, talking trash to the cops, to the sheriffs, talking trash to everybody. Within 3 months, it broke him, and he was there banging and screaming, and just he lost it, bro.
yeah,
He lost it. 18 years old, came with the chip in his shoulder, and left that place just
not all there.
not all there, man. I've seen it break men,
Yeah,
and I'm not saying I'm just saying it was because of the Lord
yeah,
that He
no,
kept
bro.
my mind intact. It's a rough thing, man. It's a rough thing, and I'm just grateful that I never went back.
Yeah,
I'm grateful, but people say, and this is a whole other subject. I don't want to really
get
dive
into it.
into it, but if if Christianity ever becomes illegal in the United States, I think that scares people. Me, I don't know how to function.
Yeah.
I don't know how to function if they start throwing believers in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us that are serving God now, that have experienced that, are going to be the leaders in there.
To be able to guide them
Yeah,
and
because
keep
we're
their
going to
mind.
know how to operate and function,
Yeah.
and we can help other people cope. If it ever gets to that, I mean, we don't know the future,
No.
but the way it looks, it don't look
Oh
too
yeah,
good.
it's getting crazy.
Yeah, it don't look too good, and I just think that if it ever gets to that, the Lord has set up a lot of people from incarceration that know how to endure, persevere, have mentally built themselves up because you have to program in there, and and I think the next generation of leaders God is raising, a lot of them are incarcerated,
Yeah.
because they know how to function without the whole prosperity gospel.
Yeah.
Don't know how to serve God with and know how to share a top ramen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not have nice dinners, nice cars, nice house. We can live out of a locker with a skinny mattress like
Yeah.
this, but that's a whole other subject, man. But I just wanted to talk a little bit, guys. Wanted to share with you guys about why do ex-cons always talk about prison, um, and even you might even say in a funny way. Remember that show Married with Children?
Yeah.
Al Bundy,
Al Bundy.
always talking about his football
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. The golden days.
Same thing, guys.
Yeah.
Same thing. I don't look at it like that's the best part of my life, but nevertheless, it was a huge part of my life, because it took me away from my loved ones for 6 whole years, man. And but I don't look back like that was the glory days.
No.
The glory days are right now.
Exactly. And like you said, and I think for me, it is a daily reminder
Yeah.
because it reminds me daily, like, man, because sometimes I can sit there and think, man, I should be this far ahead, but I can also be in a prison cell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that conversation keeps me humbled because I can sit back and remember how many Thanksgivings that I spent in a cell,
Oh man.
or Christmases that I spent in a cell,
Yeah.
or having that phone call calling my daughter and being like, holding back the tears because you're in the day room. You know what I'm saying? And you're
Yeah.
a bunch of, and you show any weakness,
Bunch
you
of
gotta get,
knuckleheads.
yeah, and you can face the phone all you want and shed like one or two tears, but when you hang up, you gotta wipe them and walk away with your chest
Yeah.
in there again. And I'm just grateful now,
Yeah.
for today, for what God has done for me today, because God willing, I never have to go back. But should we ever have to face that when Christianity becomes illegal, I guess I'll do it proudly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll give me something. I'd rather walk around with my chest bowed for God than for what it used to be.
Yeah. You just reminded me right now when you were on the phone with your daughter. A couple years ago, I had old VHS tapes, or the little tapes on the camcorders,
Yeah, the betas.
and my family would occasionally record my kids because I'll tell them, please record them because I want to see them grow up.
Yeah,
And I was looking through these tapes that I never saw, man. And boy, I just started crying, man, just by myself because one of them, my son Bobo, the one that lives with me,
mm,
because I went in, he was 2, so he must have been about 4 at the time. So I still had 4 more years to go, and the person recording says, "What do you want to say to Dad?" And he goes, "I want you to come home, Dad."
dang.
And I didn't come home till 4 years later, man. That broke me, bro. That broke me. I remember seeing that, and it's on my computer, and I can't watch it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, and I feel that same way too because I would always like my sisters and would always send me pictures of my daughter's birthdays,
Yeah.
Christmases. I would even contact over here. They had something called Friends Outside,
Yeah.
where they would take the kids gifts for you. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If you just write them a letter, tell them, hey, I'm incarcerated. This is my daughter's address. She's this years old.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And they would have somebody go deliver a gift, or they would call them and have my daughter's
Yeah.
mom come pick it up, or vice versa, whatever. And dude, I literally still got my prison photo albums, and I
Me
don't
too.
open them up
Yeah.
because it if I want to have a good cry, I'll open it up. Know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because
Yeah.
I like now my daughter's an adult, and I got my grandsons. Um, I just look at the time that I've wasted. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, for nonsense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And see, this right here what we're talking about. This is the difference from two believers talking about prison compared to a prison channel that they all still want to talk about how tough they were
And glorify
and how tough
all
they
that.
are
Yeah.
and this and that. Man, I don't care how tough you were, man. I know you cried in that pillow. I don't care how tough you were after that phone call and I saw you go to your cell and didn't say hi to nobody
Yeah.
because you were like holding it in
Yeah.
because you just heard some bad news or good news or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality.
Because even the good news, you're like, I should be out there with them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I
dude,
should
I
be
would
out.
call home wherever Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. They're like, oh, call your brothers. That's where we're gonna be, and I just hear, man,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. Like I said, bro, I
it
there was times where,
made
you
you
know,
feel like garbage.
yeah, I'd have to just shed a couple tears, bro. But I know there's somebody behind me waiting for the phone, bro. So I'd have to suck it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? For
Yeah,
me, the and this was just
yeah,
my mentality is if I let them out because it's a 15-minute phone call. If I let them out the first 5 minutes, I
yeah,
got 10 minutes to kind of clear my mind and put my game face back
yeah,
on. You know, but
yeah,
but that for those 5 minutes, I could just look at the phone and just sit like this,
yeah,
and nobody will see. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm just like, all right, I
yeah,
gotta suck it up and,
yeah,
just start laughing with everybody and joke around and just be like, all right, well, I'll be out,
yeah,
I'll be out there,
yeah.
So
And for anybody watching this, man, and you're out there just running and gunning, and you haven't been incarcerated, um, really think about it. Think about it. You know, um, what will highly likely happen is that wife, that girlfriend of yours, will be somebody else's. Those kids are gonna call somebody else daddy. That's the reality.
yeah,
And you are not guaranteed that the people in your family that are alive today are gonna be there when you walk out. Because I lost two aunts. You know, I lost two aunts, and one of them was really close to me. You know, and I wasn't even, man. I was She was there for me for everything, and I couldn't be there as she was dying, and I couldn't be there at her funeral. You know, it ain't guaranteed, man, and it is no way to live your life, guys. It is no way. It sucks. You know, there is more honor to be home and do what you need to do as a man. That's a real man.
that's a real man.
Yeah, we used to think like, oh man, you know, a real man carries a gun. A real man,
And just guarantee, I mean, just to guarantee that solid homeboy that you think is by your side, that's never gonna rat on you, will rat on you because his freedom is more important than yours.
yeah,
So don't ever think that you're not um that you're
media,
exempt from that. You hear about it all the time, especially nowadays.
yeah,
And man, it's crazy, and I'm not saying anything bad about that. It's just don't take your freedom for granted. It's
yeah,
really not worth it, especially if you got kids, because eventually you end up um, you end up coming to the realization like I did, and it's that nobody's gonna be there for your kids like you.
yep,
And you're gonna put them through a world of heartache for something that never cared about you, for something that never meant anything to you. I didn't know how to. I thought I knew how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be a dad till I got
yeah,
surrounded by men of God.
yeah, yeah, for real.
And they started teaching me how to be a dad. And I just, you know, but I don't, like I said from the beginning, I don't regret any of my prison terms or my jail terms because it's made me who I am today, and um, I do have some self respect and some morals that I won't cross. You know what I'm saying? For nobody, and um, I really want to say they're kind of like biblical to an
Yeah,
extent. So
yeah. Well, guys, we just wanted to conversate with you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed this. It's been a while since I put something on my personal channel, and like I said, we were here at the church, and I'm like, hey, Tomas, you mind having a conversation about this? And so I appreciate it, brother. I
yeah, no
appreciate
problem,
you,
bro.
um, just sharing your heart, man. Um, Especially about so many. There's, you know, in the biblical sense, I do want to say this: is that the enemy knows that God said for every man to be the head of his house. So obviously, if God has called us men to be leaders of our house, then that makes us target number one.
Yep,
And the enemy wants to take out every man because he knows if he takes you out, the wife, the kids, everybody will scatter.
yep,
and he wants to destroy your family. He wants to destroy your children. He wants to destroy your grandchildren. So the best thing you can do is just be the man of the house. What is a man of the house? A man that follows after the Lord. That's a real man. You know, I've always said. I think I just said it. The the best example of a real man is Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the example of a real man.
You know, First Corinthians 13:11 says, "When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put childish things away." You
Yeah,
know, when we become fathers, we gotta. This life's no longer about us. It's about being the leadership of that child
yeah.
and pointing them in a better direction than what we thought was right. And that's where we got to put childish things
Oh
away
yeah.
to the side, and we got to man up.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I completely agree with what you're saying, and yeah, that's a good way. That's a perfect way to end this video. First Corinthians chapter 13,
13:11, I believe it was.
verse 11.
Yeah, 13:11.
Yeah, yeah. The enemy